feel this?
We are live.
We are back with podcast number 3 of Grizzled Veterans. I'm your host, Jason Rose, as always.
Yes, and I'm your co-host, singing along, Donovan Darko.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! We're so happy.
You can unplug your ears now.
Pod
everybody.
choice. Podcast of choice.
Yeah, so here we are. We're back with our 3rd episode. Seems like forever we've done an episode of our podcast proper.
Proper? Yes, it's been about 3 weeks at least now.
We've been busy. Life has been busy. It's taken me by the hands, and it's leading me on the path to nowhere. And yourself? What have you been up to?
Well, yeah, been pretty busy, but getting my gaming in there.
Yeah?
I know we're going to talk about Journey, but that was definitely
for sure.
a highlight of the last few weeks. I picked up The Witcher 2, started dabbling with that.
Jealous, man.
Yeah.
Jealous. Want that for the PS3.
Yeah.
Might have to get that for the new, for the PC. I should say the new laptop I'm getting.
Well, there you go.
I'm about to put an order in for a new Alienware laptop.
Very cool. And like,
I've always wanted one.
from what I've seen, you know, and of course this is no big surprise, but the PC version does look better than the Xbox version. They did a hell of a job on the Xbox version, I'll say that.
Beer is so good.
He doesn't want to hear me talking about Xbox.
No, of course I do. It's a gaming podcast. We all comers.
But yeah, I've only just started. I got through the prologue and I've dabbled a little bit, but it looks like it's going to be a very rich story.
I heard there's lots of sex, lots of fucking.
Well, so far I've seen some titties.
Like you're getting, I heard you're getting like action 20 minutes in and it just keeps coming, like banging.
Well, I'm more than 20 minutes in, but I haven't gotten any.
Like threesomes.
Well, I got a
dudes banging.
Well, I mean, there's a girl
banging
in it.
Cows. No, am I going too far?
Maybe you're going too far.
All right.
He does, like, the main character's got, like, his woman.
Okay.
So, you know, like, at the beginning of the
We
game,
all should have
you
one
wake
of
up in
those.
bed next to her, and he's like, hey.
Lovely.
And then, of course, you get
Does he cook her
interrupted.
eggs?
Huh?
Does he cook her eggs?
No breakfast was had.
No, he's the fucking Witcher. He doesn't have to do that shit.
doesn't cook,
He's like, you know, give me my beer, wench. And then, you know, he gets some sex, and then he's gone to kill some people in the morning.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. On a serious note, definitely a game I would love to play. Yeah. But I love trophies. Or achievements.
And I love achievements. And it's funny because I remember you hassling me over when I bought Vanquish for Xbox.
Vanquish.
And I think the reason I got Vanquish on Xbox was, again, it was a achievement thing.
I hear you, but that's the thing. I feel you'd be much further ahead if you committed to one. I mean, as far as I think I'm like 2,000 trophies in front of you.
That's what I mean, and I've got like close to 30,000
Well, level are you?
points in
You're level 9.
Level 9.
And change, like what?
A bit of change, not much change.
Okay, I'm 15 and 77%, but I've installed there because I've been playing too much Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Too much of that.
Except we're not allowed to talk about Mass Effect.
No, we're done with Mass Effect. Yes, we just recorded our Mass Effect 3 spoiler cast. If you haven't watched that, what am I talking? Listen, we're not in the video stage yet. If you haven't listened to that yet, please do listen to that after or before or whenever the hell you want to listen to it.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's for.
It's a special episode.
It is our first of many for listening.
So yeah.
Let's, you know what? Before we get into the games, let's talk about what did we just watch?
Oh, well.
We just watched 2 awesome movie trailers.
Okay. Prometheus. Now that new international trailer, you were there. You sit next to me. My mind was blown.
It's one of the best trailers I've seriously ever seen. No hyperbole either. Like I love movie trailers. I like them to draw me into movies. Sometimes they can make or break, but that trailer was phenomenal. I've always been a big fan of the Aliens universe.
Oh, me too. And like this trailer gave me chills.
It did. Like hairs on my arm stood up
absolutely.
when that you know the soundtrack and the score kicks in.
Well, when they start getting into the rapid cuts at the end of the trailer and you're seeing all these really glimpses of the special effects that we're going to... And people, if you haven't seen this trailer... Even if you're only minutely interested in this movie, it's going to have some of the best special effects of this year.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's a prequel of the Aliens universe.
Yes.
And the take on it from Ridley Scott. Yeah, watch it. It's the international extended trailer number 3. I don't know.
2 or 3.
Long name. Anyway. Just look for it. It's about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And then what do we watch?
Dark Knight Rises.
That's right, the new one. And what'd you think of that?
Well, honestly, it didn't blow me away as much as the Prometheus trailer did. I'm still, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very excited for this movie. I love Batman, my favorite DC character. I've been in love with the character since before the Tim Burton movies, all of that stuff. But this, I have just a weird, it's like a taste in the back of my mouth kind of thing. And
Is it because Bane? Is it because Bane is not an impactful villain from your experience?
I mean, I read the story where Brain breaks Batman's back. Brain, yes. Bane.
It's Pinky and the brain.
Anyway, but I know about the Bane character, and I don't mind him. In fact, I read a graphic novel, or actually it was a book, version of the story that takes place after Gotham has the earthquake, and they get separated from the rest of the states, and they're it's like almost like a prison city. Okay. Anyway, Bane's in that, and he's portrayed as a very intelligent character.
Well, that was his thing, and that's why the gaming iteration of him is not accurate representation. He's not Russian, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I know.
Is he Russian?
I think he is Russian.
Okay, well, he doesn't have a crazy accent like that, and he's not stupid and lumbering like an idiot. He's a cerebral villain who can match Batman blow for blow.
Yeah.
If anything, he's stronger.
Yeah.
He's... or whatever, I don't know.
I think technically he is.
The gaming iteration was a poor iteration.
Well, I mean, the gaming, as far as like say the Rocksteady version, is a fairly accurate version from the comics, is it not?
I suppose. I think like there's 2 versions of Bane that I've heard people. You know, there's the original one that you were talking about in that arc where he's the cerebral villain.
Yeah. And
then he just turned into some lumbering idiot who gets his ass kicked. As filler.
I mean, let's not even. I mean, we talked briefly about the Joel Schumacher Batman.
Oh, whatever, yeah.
What they did to him in that movie is just...
yeah, but... So is that why you aren't as...
I don't know. I think, like... Again, Anne Hathaway cast as a Catwoman doesn't excite me.
No, it's too... She has 0 sex appeal to me.
The story... I am very interested in finding out what they're going to do with the story. And I think it's going to be a great movie. But there's just something about it that hasn't, like... grabbed me like the Dark Knight did, and certainly not like the way the Prometheus trailer did.
But again, I've always been a big fan of Christopher Nolan's. He always uses Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
his bar none. Him and what's his name? The other guy. He does the Metal Gear Solid stuff. Right. Scores. He's the other guy that thinks excellent. The name escapes me. If you listen to this, comment below. Refresh your memories. But yeah, those 2 are my favorite.
And I gotta actually, since we're talking about movies, I'm gonna mention the Spider-Man, because I'm actually more excited for
You're a big Spider-Man
I'm
guy.
a huge Spider-Man fan, and I'm a huge Batman fan, but there's something about this new Spider-Man movie that really has me...
Well, first of all, Tobey Maguire is an idiot. Like, not an idiot, I shouldn't say that, because I don't know him personally, but the casting decision, he's not Spider-Man. There's nothing athletic or cool. Like... Andrew Garfield looks like Peter Parker to me. You know, he's sort of the nerdy, but he was never like nerdy as in, no, I wouldn't want to hang out with that guy. Right. Peter Parker looked like a guy, you know, you just like he looks like a guy that would do a gaming podcast with.
It was in the early comics, it was the glasses that made him the nerd. As soon as he took off the glasses,
you know, he's sort of scruffy with the hair, doesn't give a shit, but whatever. But and like the body type too, a Leith thing. Tobey Maguire's short and, you know, somewhat stunty. He doesn't look like Spider-Man.
Not lean enough.
No. Yeah. And Andrew Garfield is an excellent actor, and I've seen him in many things before this.
Well, I've actually only seen him in The Social Network, but he really impressed me in that.
So, but he was in Dr. Parnassus.
Oh, okay.
It was a good movie.
Okay, I haven't seen that. And
that was actually the Heath Ledger's last movie.
Yeah, because I think Johnny Depp and a couple other people...
They took over. Right. Johnny Depp and the Irish bloke.
Colin
Farrell.
Yeah.
Those 2 stand in.
And this is why we do a gaming podcast, because if we did a movie...
we would be... what's that guy? What's his name? You know.
Anyway. That's what we're excited for movie-wise. Moving right along. So,
I guess this is just going to be a mishmash. We got to catch up. We've been out of the loop. A lot of gaming news to cover, so I think we'll just go with our let's just throw games out there and talk about them.
So, Jason,
let's go ahead. You start.
I hear that devils sometimes cry.
Devils do sometimes cry, and they sometimes cry in HD.
Yep. So how's that going?
It started going.
Yeah.
And then I got sort of pulled away from real life and stuff. But Devil May Cry, to me, Devil May Cry 3 is the best action game of all time. For many different reasons. That doesn't mean I discount Ninja Gaiden or the God of Wars and various other action games that are right there. Bayonetta is right there with it.
Oh,
for me.
Side note, since you brought up Bayonetta.
I know, man. And that's just a rumor.
I hope it's just a rumor. Please don't let Bayonetta be cancelled.
Don't let Bayonetta 2. The thing is, it was never officially announced. Yeah. I was hoping for something. It was such a good game.
Oh.
Such a good game. The fighting system was deep. The character was compelling. And it was, I don't know, it's Platinum Games.
Yep, it's Platinum Games.
Creators of Vanquish, which we mentioned earlier.
And Anarchy Reigns.
And Bayonetta's going to be in that.
Yes.
So, what's the story? We'll just have to wait for E3.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailers for Anarchy Reigns?
Yeah, I have.
It looks pretty cool.
It looks very good. But it gets platinum, man. Everything they make. The only suspect game I'm right now is Revengeance. Metal Gear Solid. But Metal Gear Rising.
I think the story is going to be what is going to bother you maybe the most, potentially. Because gameplay-wise, how bad can it be? These guys, have they made a bad game?
No, but I don't know. It's just the take where they've ran with him, and they try so hard with Raiden. They try so hard, and it falls flat all the time. Like, I went back and played Metal Gear Solid 2, and after all these years, I didn't mind Raiden as much. But now I get his trying to be badass again and force it down our face, and that was his problem in the first part. Because Kojima thought he'd be so cool, and he'd appeal to Western audiences and things, but North American audiences hated him the most.
Yeah.
And I don't think Japanese audiences warmed up to him as much as he thought he would.
I mean, we've accepted him now because the Metal Gear universe is just amazing.
Well, he's a part of it.
And he's a part of it, so, like...
But I think his problem, and the problem they have with the character, is they always try too hard with him. No one likes somebody that tries too hard. Just be who you are, man. Yeah. I
think where they left him at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, like, they did a good job of him in that game.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had a newfound respect for the character, and
that's kind of. I mean, I didn't totally dislike him in 2, but
I didn't. It was more the disappointment of not getting to use him. I think once that wore off, and you could take yourself out of that situation, then you could enjoy.
Because the game still played like Metal Gear, so I mean, it was a different skin basically that Snake was wearing.
Anyway, let's get back to. We'll just touch on it briefly with the HD thing, because you've got another HD thing, series you'd like to talk about, but. I wanted to start with the first one. Control wise, it's a little shoddy, but it's
a little clunky. Just dated.
Yeah, it's a first generation of PlayStation 2 title.
Right.
It was a new IP, so the controls are a little clunky. But you know what? It's nostalgia. I can overlook it.
Sure.
Game's still good. I'm enjoying it. I don't know what I'm going to do with 2 because I thought 2 was terrible. Well, I never finished 2 when I went through it.
No, eh?
No, I couldn't.
I've never actually beat the first one.
Oh,
I got to the pirate ship with the owl.
Fuck, you know what? You lost me.
I
cannot remember. I just know.
I just remember that's where I left
off. I
got
the demon sword, the Sparta's sword, and I just kicked some ass later. And the final boss, Mundus, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a cool boss fight at the end. But 3 is excellent. That's where the first introduction of Virgil was, his brother.
Okay, yep.
And Virgil, right away I thought the character was amazing. He can match Dante blow for blow. And he's in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And he's a fan favorite. People wanted him in the game because he made such an impact.
Right.
But just the different nuances in 3 that you could play the game in multiple different ways and level up different ways. It was very it is very deep. And it was difficult. The game is not easy. So... It's just, I thought it was excellent. I remember I had fond memories of playing it, the special edition, and I wanted to finish it to unlock Virgil to use.
Right.
And he plays he's not like just a palette swap of Dante.
Okay.
He plays completely different, and that's where they get the moves from for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Okay.
He starts with everything. He don't level him up. I think that's correct. You may be able to level up certain things, but he starts with the boots and the things like that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'll get through it very soon. And you're, what are you playing?
Well,
HD
I picked up the Silent Hill HD collection, and I started playing through 2. And again, here's a series that I've always wanted to. Both of the games that are on the collection, 2 and 3. I've never actually beat either one of them, and I've always wanted to because, well, 2 I've always heard has got the best story in the Silent Hill games.
They say 3's not bad.
And I heard 3 is quite good too.
Personally, I can't speak. It's a franchise. I picked up the first and second one, very briefly, tried them, didn't mind them. But didn't take them very far.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever play them.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I played through them. I'm playing through 2, and I haven't really gotten that far yet. But again, there's been so many other new games coming out. It's so easy to get distracted.
So many good games.
But I've been pretty impressed with it so far. Now, apparently they're doing some patches for it to improve performance. There's been
really on an HD.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was actually had a day 1 patch for it.
Wow.
I was shocked actually with that. I don't know. There's a little bit of fog drop in and out, which is kind of weird for.
Well, the draw distance was such an issue with the earlier games, and
but apparently in the PS2 version it doesn't have this, and in the HD remake
it
does.
Oh wow, that's funny.
That's funny. I watched the review on Game Trailers, and that's what they were saying about it. Now I haven't had any issues with it, but I have found that the game's pretty dark, and I've noticed this with a few of my PlayStation
dark, not
games.
as story-wise, dark as in
hard to see
lighting.
Yeah.
Why don't you mess around with the lighting settings?
I've done that a little bit, but like, I feel like if I've got my settings good,
I always like to go 1 or 2 above what they recommend.
Yeah, and I've done that to a certain extent, like adjusting the brightness and the sharpness and stuff like that. And yeah, and I think with the PlayStation, I seem to have to do that a little bit more than I do with the Xbox. And it's just, I think, the different type of graphic processors.
Sure, I mean, I don't want to get into the nuances of what does what better. I don't know, sometimes...
That's not what we're doing here. But I'm just saying, like I think I told you...
They do lighting, and they do handle lighting differently.
Yeah, and like, I played through the Dragon's Dogma demo with you last week, and I was saying to you, this is very dark in the one area where I was fighting the Chimera.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of that, anyway?
I didn't mind it, but I think I need to play more of it.
It's all over the place.
They just kind of throw it at you.
Yeah, you're like, okay, you fight this, and you're in the middle of the story, and then you're in some field fighting a griffin.
Yeah, so I want to play it again and check it out, but I did download it for the Xbox because I want to make a comparison and see if that same area is as dark.
And have you played it yet?
No, I didn't get a chance to yet.
Come on.
So I'm sorry.
For the sake of the podcast, you got to get through this.
I know, but I was getting the Mass Effect episode ready too.
I know. Yeah, just give credit where credit's due. Donovan does all of our editing.
I'm the tech
guy. And I'm
guy.
forever grateful. I bow down.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
It gives me something to use my studio for.
I'm the idea guy. Donovan's the editing guy. So basically, I don't do shit other than talk. And talk over you.
Which you tend to do a bit, but hey, I'm going to try to rear you a little bit.
Yes, I'll rear myself.
But yeah, I'm the tech guy. And so if you have any questions
you're
about
a tech
that
specialist, so you're a sentinel.
I'm something like that, yeah. I'd rather be an infiltrator, but...
So, yeah, Dragon's Dogma, I'm looking forward to it.
No, I definitely...
the scope of the enemies, I was impressed with.
Yep.
The dialogue was corny, but you know what? It's not like... I think it's funny.
How many RPGs do you play that don't
Come
have
on,
corny?
Arisen. Everything's Arisen. I'm like, who are you talking to, man? Like, get off me. Just let me go
No
fight.
worse than getting an arrow in the knee.
Yeah, silly. Yeah.
So...
But let's move on to a game we've wanted to talk about that we both finished for a while, and that's Journey.
That is. That game, I'm telling you, man, when I finally took the time, and because I didn't want to play it until like...
It's a game that's intended to be finished in one sitting.
Exactly. So I did that. It was like late night one night. It was like about 9 o'clock or something, and I finished it about 11:30. I haven't had an experience like that playing a game in a long time. I was smiling and just my jaw dropped more than a few times playing this game, just through the sheer awe of the beauty of the game. I found it to be one of the most intuitive games that I've played in a long time, where you...
Simple, yet you didn't feel it was simple.
Exactly. It's like, what do I do next? And you kind of rotate the camera and you're like, oh, what's that over there? And all of a sudden, you know...
And it just takes you on... the journey takes you.
Exactly. And so, it just felt really nice.
It felt right.
And like I say, like, I like, a lot of the games I play tend to have like dark storylines and this kind of thing. And this was a real refreshing...
You just took the word right in my mouth. It was refreshing.
And I'm telling you, man, like, when you're doing the one slide and it goes to the side
horizontals.
Oh.
It is. With the way the lighting hits the sand, and you turn to a shadow, and it's outlining that there's a history there.
Yep.
and you're just skipping through it. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The game, again, there's so many in-depth storylines and intricate weaving of characters these days, and things have to be more complicated to grab you and emotionally invest in.
But this was a very thought-provoking game.
It was.
I mean, there's story there without them actually saying any words.
And we'll get to what we both interpret the story to be at the end. We'll get to that in a sec. But again, we've been touching on music a lot in this. Whether it's the trailers, but the score for this was so well done.
It's worth listening to even if you don't play the game.
It was lighthearted. It was. Then there's times where after that scene that you're talking about sliding, you're skating almost through the sand, and it's picking up and it's lighthearted.
It's got this adventurous
but
feel,
then you drop
right?
off that cliff and you're in the underworld, and all of a sudden you had that feeling of impending. I don't want to say doom,
because the game all of a sudden goes dark
and it closes in on you.
Yeah, and
it does have moments of. Did you jump the first time that thing came out of the sand?
Hell yeah,
I did too.
The Sentinel or whatever you want to call it, the Guardian,
the snake thing that will rip your scarf off if you get caught.
Right, and I tell you, I was so bummed out when it hit me.
Yes,
I had this really long scarf, and I was
flowing.
Like,
I could fly.
Look at how cool I am with my long scarf,
strutting around singing with the circle button.
And I'm meeting other people in the game that are like, and I'm like, my scarf's longer than your scarf.
So that is one of the elements. Most people don't realize that it's actually a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
In the sense, it's not a multiplayer game, whereas you need someone else.
You don't need them there, but
a lot of people feel that the other characters that are in the game with you in that level are computer control characters. Most people don't realize that when you do finish the game, it tells you
how many people
you met on your journey.
Yeah, and I thought that was really neat too.
And that's the one element that I thought was excellently done. I really like Genova Chen as the creator, and if you haven't checked those games, Flow, I believe, was the first one.
Yeah, and then Flower.
Oh, there might have been one before Flow. I can't remember, but there was Flower.
Well, those are the two that they reference in the game, too, which, again, was very cool.
But they're simple concepts with innovative ways to play.
Yeah.
Innovative in the way where they strip apart the needless things and bring it back to basics, and you just feel it's simplistic, but I don't really know how to explain it properly.
These guys are using the PlayStation as a palette almost like this.
That's perfect.
Like they're taking the strengths of this system and utilizing them, and that's why these games feel so unique compared to I can't compare any those three games to anything on Xbox.
If there isn't games as our argument, those are the games you show first.
Absolutely. I mean, I've played Flow a little bit. I mean, I think maybe I didn't quite understand if there was more depth to it or not, but it was cool. Very relaxing, that's for sure. Flower I've dabbled with a little bit.
I've loved Flower.
Yeah.
I love them. And he's always trying to send a message with this game. Yeah. There is a message in each one.
But this one, just blew my mind. I mean, even from start to finish.
The character did look cool, though. That cloak and the way it flows.
Well, and this design. I mean, they've got no arms. So the way you have to traverse the landscape and stuff is all based on... It's like they design a character and then they design the game around the character in a way.
And the communication aspect, it's amazing because all you can do is make the...
little chirpy
with the circle button chirp, or you can hold it to extend it and make it longer. But it seemed like, as opposed to other multiplayer games, there's a lot of hate. There's racial slurs. There's, no time for anybody.
This eliminates all of that.
But not only that, I found by eliminating those things, people seem more apt to help you.
Yeah.
You wanted to work together, and, this was a journey that... It's my journey, but I don't mind if you come along with me.
I know that share it. I know, early in the game, I believe it was, only the second level where you got to build the bridges.
Yes.
And, when I got to there, it's a big sprawling area.
That's the first one, yeah.
So I was like, well, this guy's kind of, saying follow him, but this is my first time here. So I want to look around, and I'm finding, the glyphs and stuff like that. And, I don't know, you end up meeting other people along the way anyway. So it's like, you don't necessarily feel offended that you left that guy
the first time I played the game on the final stage, which is the long trek, I don't want to spoil the game for anybody, and we're definitely not going to do a spoiler cast for Journey, but actually there's not that much to spoil other than the final part.
Everything's unspoken in the game.
The final stage is unlike any in the rest where it's a struggle. And it's the final stage of the journey.
Yeah.
And it's meant to feel that way. But I actually experienced a glitch the first time I went through, and the guy that I was going with, one of those things hit me, ripped my scarf, and I eternally spun in midair.
Right.
And I had to restart, so I lost my buddy there. But, bless that guy's heart. He sat there and chirped at me for 3 or 4 minutes trying to help me out and get me untangled.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. And I was like, you know what? He didn't know. He could have just been like, all right, you're stuck. You're stuck in the wall. See you, buddy. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
I hope he finished the game.
Oh, I'm sure he finished the game. But 3 or 4 minutes before you did.
The final struggle, the journey, I felt those final steps.
Oh, yeah.
And it carries that moment all the way through the end. And then you get the release almost and the euphoria.
Yep.
It was very, very well done.
Well, and I think the first time I talked to you about Journey, I said, well, that last little bit, I was by myself, so it took a little bit.
You felt it was a little long.
I was like, it took a little bit of a while, but I ended up playing through a second time, and I did it in spurts because I was trying to get the trophies.
Yeah, you're trying to get the white cloak, which is extremely cool.
But the second time I got to that ending section, it felt shorter.
Yeah, but... Maybe regardless of the length, I think it needed to be there for the message he was trying to send.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is like...
It was so offbeat of what the rest of the game was.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, having gone through it that first time and feeling like, what?
It basically takes away your ability to fly, because the cold sucks the life out of you.
Yeah.
So, what do you think Journey was? I mean, everyone has his own way, but what do you think the message he's trying to convey with it?
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah, you know what? Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong here.
I mean, that's just came off the top of my head because, you beat the game, you get sent back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Well, and I don't think that's a spoiler either, because if you look at the trophies say, return to the beginning and start your journey anew or something like that. So that's
it's an endless cycle. Sort of.
To me, mine's a little bit more in depth, but this game was Genova Chen's metaphor for the journey of life, the different stages you go through. Even the trophy names, if you read them and how they're in order, seems like words and metaphors to describe different stages of life.
Yeah.
I think the final one's enlightenment.
And you've got Transcendence. And
that might be actually the last one. Maybe I'm wrong.
Transcendence is the one when you get all the...
No, but the names, I'm not talking about the descriptions, but the names of the trophies and
the order
they're in.
Okay.
I think they tie into the story. Maybe that's just my interpretation of it. And especially up through everything and the final struggle of life, and then the afterwards, which could be interpreted as the afterlife. Who knows? And then you begin anew. It's almost like the Hindu take on religion, where life, the end of life is a new beginning.
Yeah.
You may come back as an insect, or if you're shitty at life, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. But that's the way I read it. But that's the cool concept of these games. Whereas Flower was an interpretation of industry taking over the natural habitat of the world and the wrongs of it, and it's sort of how nature reclaims the industry. And it was a very cool message on top of, and if you didn't choose to read it like that, it was still an awesome game.
Yeah. I mean, even with my very
awesome? I said awesome.
Awesome? Awesome. Awesome possum.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I guess even with my very sort of, off the cuff description of what I got out of it, I mean, it still kind of is in line with what you're saying.
Sure.
I mean, because that's
basically
life. That is life.
You don't succeed, try again.
I mean,
except with women. Sometimes you never got to try again.
Well, no, and there are the few that slip through your fingers. But hey, that's
like the sands of time.
But yeah, if you haven't played Journey, do yourself a favor.
What's Journey out of 10? Quick.
9.5.
9.5 for me too.
Yeah.
Easily. I almost want to give it a 10. For if I scored it in what it is, it's a 10. The game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it, play it. If you don't have a PS3, borrow one, buy one. It's worth.
Do what you have to.
It's worth the money.
This is unlike any game you've played in the last 5 years.
2.5 hours, very well done, and you probably want to play again.
Yep.
You want to keep playing. But anyway, that's it for what we've been playing. I guess we can go on to some gaming announcements that
News.
Have been a lot of gaming announcements. Well, with the build up to E3, that's expected. Some people want to get ahead. of the curve.
And it's sooner
It's
than you
been
think.
bigger. Well, I mean,
Was it 6
E3
weeks?
used to be the end of March, or end of May. Sorry. Now it's sort of in the beginning of June.
Yeah, so it's like 6 weeks away.
Yeah, not far. I mean, it's May 2nd today.
So what? I think they were saying like,
Where's the fucking time going anyway? How is it May 2nd? I feel like it was just New Year's Eve and we're bundled up and snowing and...
okay, well here's something then. What are your predictions for E3 as far as announcements go?
I don't know. Announcements. I wrote a blog on this.
Okay, not what your predictions are then. What do you want to hear it? What do you want to hear that's being announced? What do you want to hear that you don't know about?
You know what I don't want? That...
What I don't
It's
want.
hard. This is a double-edged sword.
Answer the opposite.
I know.
Of what I just-
I'm always I'm the pessimist, not the optimist. It's brutal. That's the dynamic between us. That's funny.
Shit, it's great.
But this is a want and a do. I want to see what the new technology and consoles can hold.
Do you think that Microsoft and Sony are going to announce something this year?
You know, I think it's...
I think they're both denying it. I think they're both going to announce something.
At the beginning of the year, I took that stance. I wrote a blog what I think, E3 is going to hold. And I said both PS4, 720, and for whatever, the Wii U, PU shit is going to be there too. They need to change that name.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It was awful the first time.
It was awful. The name, change it.
Wii rhymes with P.
Yeah, but like the Wii U, I don't know.
Whatever.
Nintendo.
Anyway, so yeah, what are you hoping to hear?
I'd like, if they want, I'd like to see the coming announcements. This is, okay, what I want to see the new consoles. But then what on top of that, what I want them to say they're not coming out till 2014. I don't think we need we don't need new consoles.
And I'm fine with that too, because again,
but if you look at the history, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but if
the
you look at the
PS3
history,
and the Xbox 360 still have life in them.
tons.
Yeah, I mean the technology is not going to jump that
The
drastically.
problem is the leap forward isn't going to be as big, and
yeah, and I think that's why that is why we're having longer generation this time around.
it's the development cycles and expenses. People still haven't got a grips on it to get ahead.
Yeah.
They're still learning about the tools.
Yeah.
And these games cost $100 million. How are they going to... And even if you look at the numbers, the amount of releases per year have gone down steadily recently. We don't get as many games as we used to.
But we're getting a lot of good ones.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
I'm not
crap.
saying the quality has dropped, but we're also getting a lot of sequels.
Well, that's been happening for... Like, this generation is notorious for sequels.
Out of necessity. But I guess that would be my major thing. What I would like to see, obscure announcements, I'd love to see a new Zone of the Enders. I'd love to see a new Castlevania Lords of Shadow sequel.
I would really like to hear
I would die for one of those. I love that game.
I want to hear about a Castlevania announcement.
What else do I want? I don't know. There's so many things that you put me on the spot here, but...
I wanted a Bayonetta announcement, but now I'm kind of feeling that might be dashed.
Yeah. And yourself?
Well, like I just said, I was hoping for Bayonetta and a Castlevania. Well, we already know that Ni no Kuni is coming out next year, so I'm really excited about that. But I'd really like to hear Final Fantasy Versus 13.
I want to see Final Fantasy Versus 13 too. It's I recently read something real quick about every generation has had 3 main numbered Final Fantasy games.
Okay.
This is the first one that hasn't.
Okay.
We've seen 13, 14. Although 14 hasn't come out on the PS3, I don't know if it ever will now.
I don't know if it will now.
It's funny because that was supposed to be a launch console along with PC, but that's a fucking disaster, that game.
I kind of feel like at this point they should just change Versus 13 to 15.
Yeah, really. I don't know, but they can't do that. They're not going to.
Why not? Why does it have... I don't understand why it's called Versus 13 anyway.
I don't know. They
It has
take
nothing
place
to
in
do
that
with
stupid
13.
Nova Crystallis universe that they're... Yeah, I
Does it have something to do with 13?
I guess maybe just the worlds. I don't know. Dude, I don't know anymore.
From what I've seen, I saw what they released last year. It was a pretty long trailer that showed gameplay. And
Finally, you got gameplay, yeah.
And it looked like it was in a modern era Earth.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I'm very curious, but I need to see something.
I want to... You know what I want? I want a release date.
Yeah.
I want a release date for Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Yeah.
Because that's Square's... One of their saving graces, right? They need to put out a good game.
Yeah.
I thought 13s as a whole weren't very good, and they've done a lot of damage to the... No one can deny, whether you like or dislike, that the Square and Final Fantasy name has taken a hit.
Oh, it definitely has.
You
but
can't deny that.
At the same time, It kind of goes...
Doesn't hold the prestige that it used
I was
to.
playing Final Fantasy 13-2 last night.
I know.
So, I mean, like, I've put 80 plus hours into this game.
Oh, that's great.
It can't be that bad if I put 80 plus hours into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I touched on this earlier in one of our episodes where I said, well, unfortunately, the story isn't what compels me to play a Final Fantasy game necessarily at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of the other stuff that I get with a Final Fantasy game that makes me want to play it. It's the hunting down of the items and all of that stuff. I
had hope. I had a hope for some Vita stuff, but I've almost lost hope in the Vita right now.
Already?
I think they're going to announce a price drop. If they drop the price significantly, I'll pick it up. No, you can't deny that the technology is impressive, and I don't want to get into the whole, is there replaces or not. Bottom line, it's out and it's a console and it's ready to be used.
The tech is great, but I've never owned a handheld, and I'm a PSP
and I loved it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, if we're talking on the Final Fantasy vein, I'd love to see a console version of Dissidia.
That would be very cool. And I'll say this because I've said it to you. I still think that PSP games should be downloadable and playable on the PS3.
Oh, sure. But they do. Yeah, they don't really.
Dude, there are so many RPGs that I would download and pay for. Ys. There's like 7, and then the Chronicles, and there's the Phantasy Star games, and there's like tons and tons.
Well, if you want to
tons.
keep up with the Final Fantasy, there's the 2 offshoots. There's Crisis Core, and then there was the Type 0.
Yep.
Or Type... Oh, I don't know. Type either one.
Yeah.
Crisis Core was very good. I don't know. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a very exciting E3, though. I think it's unprecedented that 3... It's been the dawn of 3... 3 new consoles. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But, we'll flow into what announcements have happened prior to E3 to get the jump on it. That's the new God of War.
Yes.
Ascension is what it's called. You're not a big God of War guy.
I'm not. And I've tried to be because I know so many people that enjoy this series. And I've played through the first 2 and I started getting into 3. And I'll say it. I don't understand why people like this game so much.
I don't know. I think they're crazy.
But at the same time, I'm going to answer that question because I know exactly why people like this game so much. It's the fucking blood and violence.
I don't know. I don't think that's just it. That's a part of it. But to me, it's the blockbuster of action games. It's the big budget. It's the reason you go see Transformers in the summer. It's not a good film. But at the vice versa, I think the God of War games are excellent. Yeah. They have some of the, if you want to look at it in terms of game design wise, some of the best level design in any game, period.
Okay, well, level design isn't going to save bad gameplay, and that's where I have a problem.
It doesn't have bad gameplay, though.
Maybe I may... Okay.
You may not think it's as in-depth as Ninja Gaiden, but it definitely doesn't... It doesn't have bad gameplay.
Maybe it just doesn't suit my play style, and I think that's probably more of why I'm not into that series. Because I felt like I've forced myself to get through them.
I think maybe a better word... No, I'm trying to put words in... Repetitive gameplay.
Yes and no. I mean, I like getting into 3, they do give you like... you want to use certain attacks against certain enemies and that kind of thing. So hopefully you're going to get a good enemy variety that allows you to mix things up. I don't know. I just felt... I compared to Ninja Gaiden because that's my favorite action series. And, God of War just feels so slow and trudgy compared to Ninja Gaiden. And I know it's...
Even 3?
Well, my other problem with God of War is the camera and the jump mechanics. I can't tell you.
I agree with the jump mechanics.
How many times I've fallen off a ledge because I hit the jump button, but he's already falling off the ledge.
But he double jumps and then you can hold it for the wings.
Yeah, except that the ledge is too far away, and even my double jump won't get me over there.
You're not very good at it.
It's to me, it's the
camera. Not very good.
Camera angles and jump mechanics.
But anyway,
and maybe I do suck at God of War and whatever. I've got through the first 2. One day I'll beat the 3rd one. The 4th one.
Well, why don't I take this God of War thing?
You do, because
you can take the next...
It's not on my list.
You'll take the next one because you have more experience in the next game we're going to talk. I'm a huge God of War fan. Level design. A lot of people bag on Kratos as the character. He yells a lot. Yeah, he yells a lot. But you know what? He's got a lot of hate. Kratos has a lot of hate, man.
He's not a likable character.
I don't know.
And he's not supposed to be.
You know what? It's a character... No, he's not supposed to be. But, for that pure revenge and release of aggression...
For... What? Okay, 6 games?
5 games.
No,
there's
with
the
new one.
this will be the 6th.
Yeah.
these 6.
And like I said this to you before, this is the same thing. I feel the same way about this God of War game as I feel about the new Halo game, and I like Halo.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's a series that they need to put to rest because they've told their story.
High five. I don't know about the story. I just think that, you know, it's a first-person shooter. It's not COD, you know what I mean? It's not Call of Duty. Halo should be the one pristine first-person shooter, although I don't have a lot of experience with it.
Yeah.
Should hold itself above. They don't need to whore the franchise out like that. Like, how many games has there been for the 360? Halo games for the 360.
Halo games for the 360, 3.
This will be the 3rd, or there's already 3?
This will be the 4th game.
See, that's too much.
Because
there was the HD release of the original.
Oh, well, too. Yeah, which I kind of didn't think about. So yeah, so you've got 3, ODST, Reach.
That's absurd.
There's
Halo 4 Halo
remake,
games,
and now Halo 4. That'll be 5 Halo games on this system.
First-person shooters to me aren't a franchise that are. It's the same viewpoint, the same enemies.
But it's the most popular genre in gaming.
I know, and I don't know why, but we'll save that.
We both, yeah.
I don't know why.
We'll have a hate on FPSs one day, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I'll touch on Ascension real quick and then move by. I'm disturbed by the announcement that multiplayer was first. I understand they probably don't want to give away the single-player elements to, for news. They want to push the MP, and I have to say it looks impressive. The scant details that I do have.
Oh, I mean, I saw the footage.
I've never sat and thought to myself, gee, I would love to have multiplayer in my God of War game. Now, I never said that about Mass Effect 3 either. But to me, if I think about Mass Effect 3, that is more conducive to a multiplayer aspect than God of War.
A more traditional multiplayer?
Well, what's traditional these days? Player versus player versus enemy, horde. I don't know, and then you got hybrids like Assassin's Creed, where the assassin modes, which is kind of cool, but what's God of War going to do? Are you going to fight player versus player? I just don't...
Well, it sounds to me like you're going to have teams of 4.
I don't know. It's just weird to me.
It seems weird to me,
It seems weird, but you know what? I'll hold out hope. Hopefully it's good. But the way my first impressions, and that's all they are is impressions, this is a multiplayer game first.
Well, and I'll say this much. At least they're taking a unique approach to their multiplayer. From what it looks like, right now.
Okay, sure. But to me, God of War is a single-player game, and I sincerely hope that they're not just trying to push out a new God of War game to get on the multiplayer fad and craze and replayability.
Pretty sure they got a new director for this game too.
Everyone's had a new director. Yeah. So. And that's why the story focus has changed so much. Yeah. Like David Jaffe's focus from 1 changed from Corey Balrog's, or is it Barlog or whatever?
I think it's Barlog actually.
Barlog to 2, and then to 3 was I don't know, some big bastard with a bald head. I forget his name.
Everybody that's directed has been on the God of War team previously, so I mean it's not like
I don't think the Ready at Dawn guys that did the PSP ones weren't.
Oh, okay. Well,
they were their own entities. But, and again, this one is another prequel. It'll be the 3rd prequel.
Yeah.
And again, it's not even a prequel to when Kratos was Kratos. It's a prequel that after he took, the chains and became the Ghost of Sparta. Like, how many games can you fit in there? Even for me,
this is what I'm
very
saying.
Huge God of War fan, it seems dodgy to me. But you know what? I'll wait and see.
Well, and you see, you're going to see a lot of the same characters again. You're going to see Hades.
See, I don't mind, though. I don't think... If he goes to Hades again, I'll probably shut the game off. Because I've been in Hades 4 times, and it's like the easiest thing to get out from.
No, and that's what really made me stop playing 3.
Silly.
Anyway.
Looks good. So, I'll let you take this away. Resident Evil 6. A game that Resident Evil 5 lost me, but I will play it eventually. I have to admit, I've come around on 6.
Yeah. Resident Evil. No, I'm very, very excited for 6. I enjoyed 5. I think I've said for different reasons than I enjoy some of the other Resident Evil games. Sure, it wasn't quite as dark, but I mean, the characters were there, so that still kept it.
You would say 4 is a better game.
4 is a better game. 5 is a good action game.
It's an action game.
It's still a good game, so it's still fun. Anyway, 6 just looks really cool. I mean, you've got your Leon story arc, which is going to maintain some of this sort of old school Resident Evil style.
More of a detective cop story to me.
I want his jacket for less than $1,000, please. The Chris stuff is going to be pretty similar to what we had in 5, but honestly, I'm fine with that.
Sure. No.
And then you've got the new character, which is Wesker's son.
If you watch the newest trailer, is Wesker's son, which is very cool.
Yeah. So is it Jake
I don't
Mueller.
know. And but he seems to he's like a hand-to-hand guy.
Yeah. So he's, obviously inheriting some of...
that's got to be a combat mechanics nightmare for Capcom. It's something completely different.
Yeah. So, I don't know. You're going to have your 3 interweaving story arcs.
And to me, that's very interesting.
Yeah. And apparently, you're going to play each campaign separately. But in whatever order you want to play them in. And I guess they'll all come together.
Then they meshed it. I bet you this is what they do. I bet you play through various segments and then it unlocks further segments of the story.
Or that. I mean, I'm thinking it... I'm kind of hoping that they maintain some of that chapter selection that you were able to do in 5.
Okay.
Where you could go back and do a level, that kind of thing. Because I kind of like that. When you were able to, get better scores and, unlock your weapons and that kind of thing, right? Because, well...
I imagine they will, because that was a new thing for co-op. Those things are important.
Yeah.
And 6 takes the co-op aspect.
Well, there's going to be co-op in every story
and takes
arc,
it a step further.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, some of the other stuff that I noticed that looks really cool, the new enemy types.
Yes.
Look fantastic.
Yes.
It looks like they've, they're letting go of the sort of insectoid style enemies.
Although
from
they're still in there a little bit. I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're going to still see this stuff, but I like that we're getting some completely new and original enemy types who look scary and deadly.
I noticed there's a couple scenes where the Leon thing, and they're in a subway tunnel.
Yes.
And you can see sort of the zombies are running at you, just the shadows look very cool.
Yes. Yeah, I know exactly what section you're talking about. And that. So yeah, if you haven't seen these trailers yet, do yourself a favor, because this is going to be one hell of a title.
And I have to admit, I've really come around in this game. I went from not caring about Resident Evil anymore at all. I really didn't. And there's no denying, Resident Evil is a big franchise.
Oh, it's huge.
It's a huge
Did you
franchise.
hear how many people they've got working on this game?
No, I don't know.
600.
So they've really tried to they're really pushing this game.
They are.
They want to do big numbers with this game.
I think this is this is their Hollywood franchise, and we've seen that obviously because we got another movie coming out this year. They've really been pumping out the Resident Evil stuff lately, and I mean,
movies are all awful.
Well,
they're all awful.
I mean, I didn't mind the first one. I hated the second one.
Mila Jovovich, she always wants to get naked in every
Jovovich.
Whatever her name is.
But yeah, I mean,
movies
aside, I mean,
and her boobies are always out in every movie. Is there boobies out in the first one?
I don't think so.
Oh. See, Fifth Element, boobies. Other movies, boobies.
You got a problem with that?
No, she's always getting naked though. It's it's the same as seeing her in jeans. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
whatever.
But I have high hopes for the game, and it's one I hope you get on the PS3.
See, this is going to be a tough choice. Because I've got, Ty and a couple other buddies that I played 5 with on Xbox, so...
I will buy you number 5 so we can play through.
I found a used copy of Gold Edition at Microplay here.
How much, $19?
No, it was $30 for the Gold Edition.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if it's still there.
That's the one I have, because actually a few of the downloadable content things from 5 I wanted to get through. It tells the story of how... Wesker got Jill.
Yes.
And transformed her into the iteration that you see in, again, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. Mm-hmm. It explains why Jill she's not just the cap-wearing STARS trooper from Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Right.
It's the difference, right?
Yes.
Which is cool.
I thought that was great. That was a big surprise when they released that DLC, because they kept that a big secret.
I always liked Wesker. I think he's a cool villain.
And I really hope, and I think I mentioned this before, but I have a funny feeling that Wesker will reappear in the series.
In some sort of thing.
I'm sure that he had a backup plan, cloned himself, or did something.
Well, his son's there, right?
So. Yeah, I have a funny feeling we're going to see Wesker come back. And it's not going to be the same Wesker, but it may, or it's going to be close.
Nonetheless, I want to touch on the new PlayStation Battle Royale that was just announced.
Okay.
Too. The take, a blatant rip-off of Smash Brothers. I have no problem saying that. Yeah. It is what it is.
It certainly looks like a rip-off, but I mean...
No, it is. It's a 4-player in the vein of Smash Brothers, but you know what? A lot of people have been calling for this and wanted this for a long time. Because, as I was talking to you before we started recording, PlayStation has a huge stable of very recognizable characters.
Yeah.
That, now a lot of people would argue that, Nintendo's are more recognizable. Yes, but they've had more time, and there's more nostalgia behind it.
Well, it's funny, too, because I actually have, now that I've had a chance to think about this a little bit, but one of the things they've also announced is there's going to be third-party characters in this game as well.
Absolutely. Like, there's chances for Final Fantasy characters.
Sure.
You could have Cloud.
Yeah.
There could be the new Connor from Assassin's Creed 3.
Yep.
It's going to be very exciting.
Well, Ubisoft have been whoring themselves out to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure you're going to see some kind of Assassin's
Ezio's
Creed
been
thing.
and everything. And
yeah.
just, I find the stable of characters that PlayStation has developed is very underrated. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Sony guy, but I like to recognize stables. Xbox definitely doesn't have, outside of Master Chief.
No, they don't have a lot of mascot type
a
characters.
recognized stable. I would actually argue, and I might get some flack, that PlayStation's stable of characters now are far more relevant than what Nintendo offers.
Oh, you definitely get people arguing with that, but I would almost say, like, I would agree with you in the sense that they may potentially have more.
And they may actually have more. And they're fleshed out. Like, you have even games that have been forgotten, like Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, yeah.
There's Jack and Daxter, Ratchet
Crash
Clank.
is going to be in this game.
Who knows?
Sure
Maybe you get Spyro.
Yeah. Spyro will be in the game.
You don't know.
Sure of it.
You don't know. But these are all options.
But you're right, but these are recognizable PlayStation characters.
And some people say, a character like Ethan Mars from Heavy Rain wouldn't fit in. But look how many characters they fit in Smash Brothers for Nintendo that would not be
put
given
Snake in there, for crying out loud.
Well, I mean, he fits in the fighting game thing.
Sure,
but
but
how many characters in the Nintendo thing? People think they're so recognizable. How many characters, if they weren't in Smash Brothers, I bet you half that cast, most people would have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
No clue. But you can't say the same thing for PlayStation if you play Sony games.
Well, and here's another thing. The Nintendo characters, they hardly ever make new ones.
That's right. And that's part of my beef with Nintendo. They rest on their laurels too much.
And I would say that that's probably one of their...
It's a strength and a weakness.
It is. I mean, I haven't bought a Nintendo system since Super Nintendo.
My last was the GameCube.
Yeah.
My last
now, granted,
GameCube.
There's a ton of great games that I would like to play on GameCube, but I think at this point I would track down a used Wii original model so I can play the GameCube games.
And it's easier to look back on those Nintendo systems of old with fond memories because you didn't live through it. If you owned a system when we were going through it, it's easy to say back, wow, there's 10 games I love to play.
Yep.
You don't realize that those 10 games were all spread out across 3 years, and that's all you had to play.
Well, yeah.
There wasn't very many games for the N64
when
and
we were
GameCube.
kids, we only had, maybe 5 to 10 games total. And you played those games like crazy. You didn't mind playing through them over and over again. Now we get through a game and we want to move right on to the next one. I mean, for people like us, part of it is a responsibility to our what we do, right?
Sure.
But
I'm just talking about, you look at Nintendo's stable, and it's a complaint that just, they look back at the GameCube with fond memories and say there's a lot of good games. Yeah, but if you owned the GameCube when the GameCube was, competing and out there,
waiting for games.
You were waiting for games constantly.
Yeah.
They were very few and far between. So, and that's been Nintendo's biggest struggle. I'm very excited for this thing. I guess the 6 characters that they've announced is Sly, Fat Princess, Sweet Tooth, Kratos, and the guy from
Parappa,
and the guy from Resistance, Colonel Ragnar.
Right.
So it's 6. I love, again, Parappa the Rapid.
I know, it's cool.
If Parappa the Rapid can make it in, punch, kick, block, chop. That. And it's sad that so many people don't know who Parappa the Rapper is.
Oh, God. If you haven't played Parappa the Rapper, go to the PSN store.
Hilarious.
Download this
Awesome.
game. It is so fun. Oh, man. So much fun.
Yes. Like, the fact that he made it in opens the door for a huge stable of
And apparently his level 3 super... wipe out everybody on the screen.
Well, that's the way, and I don't quite understand.
His funky flow is so fresh.
His funky flow is so fresh, yo.
In the rain or in the snow, I got the funky flow. So now I really gotta go.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's Donovan's rendition of the Parappa. But honestly, Parappa the Rapper makes me excited for the possibilities of the game.
Yeah.
And the characters. Because that's what this game's going to be about, is the nostalgia aspect of characters.
Sure.
And then eventually you're going to get to... who's going to be next, and you're pushing as I don't know when the release date is. I think they'll announce it.
It'll be a holiday game for sure.
I'm excited for it. The name is stupid. I will sit there and say the name is stupid. But
it's going to be a really good party game.
It will.
And I mean, I was harping on it earlier, but you're right. It's going to be fun and it's going to be crazy. And I mean, I never really played a Smash Brothers game, and I kind of look at those to be like I don't consider them to be fighting games in the same sense as like Street Fighter and stuff like that.
No, I don't either.
They're party brawlers. That seems to be the best term that I can
Because
come
when
up
you get
with.
right down to it, there's a couple characters in Smash Brothers that are basically broken. I know Meta Knight is the most overpowered character in the game, to the point that when people play it, competitively quote off that he's banned. You're not allowed to use Meta Knight. So, but you know, those games aren't meant to be huge competitive fighters like Street Fighter and things like that. But I'm very, very excited. I'm a lot more excited than I thought I would be for that game.
Okay.
If anything, just for the potential of what characters could be in it, and the third party characters.
And I did actually, because I think there is a really like broad.
There's a huge character base to draw from. I mean, you're going to get Cole from Infamous.
Yeah.
You're going to get Nathan Drake from Uncharted.
Probably.
No, you definitely are. He's going to be in it 110%.
Yeah.
And the list keeps going on and on in terms of the exclusives.
Yeah.
You're going to get some guys from Killzone. You're going to get, God, I don't know. Just keep going.
Oh, you try to think of a few more exclusives. Like I was almost going to say Shank, but that's not an exclusive. But
no,
I'm actually pretty excited to see what kind of surprises.
I would love to see the nameless character from Journey in it.
Sure.
That would be awesome. He just flies and, judo kicks you in the face.
He wraps a scarf around you. And
that's awesome.
Judo like a top
he's
or
an
something.
exclusive character.
Yeah.
And these are things that'll, the discussion will keep up as they reveal characters, but...
Or maybe he just hangs in the corner and watches, because
maybe
he's not a fighter.
He's the creep. He's the creep in the corner.
Creep-a be creeping.
Creepily. But yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. We'll wrap it up here. We've actually kept this one pretty sensible time-wise.
Oh, well, we ended up clocking in an hour, but hey.
Holy shit, is it?
It's been an hour.
Time flies, baby. Let's wrap this up. As always, this is Jason Rose, your host.
I'm Donovan Oziak.
You can reach us at my Twitter, Jason Rose A. Just how it sounds.
Yep, I'm iRobot, but it's a kind of a weird spelling, so we'll type that one out and post it.
For sure. And this has been episode 3 of Grizzled Veterans.
All right.
We're out.
We're out.